Witches Hill.
Random bullshit.
Random bullshit.
Random fucking bullshit.
I love random bullshit.
It's the best kind of
Love
bullshit.
it. It's like the only kind of bullshit.
There should be no other kind of bullshit besides the random kind.
Hey guys, can you hear my anal beads?
They're dinky.
They're very small.
I'm so disappointed in you.
You fit much bigger in it.
Guys, I'm just starting off.
Listen,
I don't
you need
believe
to
that.
look.
I really don't
go big or
believe
go
that.
nowhere. All
Okay,
right.
well, I mean,
You
I
gotta-
thought so, but I didn't have that much money, and all they had were these small things.
I'm talking about shave a couple tennis balls.
You gotta pump those numbers up.
Those are really numbers,
You
man.
gotta start with the puppy ones, and then work your way
Puppy
up to
anal?
like... No,
What
the
are you
puppy
doing to your
tennis ball.
dogs?
No,
Oh.
We don't have any dogs anymore. They died from eternal bleeding.
Eternal hemorrhaging.
The vet used the word prolapsed, and then I just blacked out.
Holy God.
I got a lot of angry messages in the mail. I don't know what that's about.
That's okay.
All my neighbors have moved out.
I lost my job babysitting.
Oh, dear Lord.
Some people are so ungrateful.
Yeah, right? I give so much.
Be happy for what you get.
I mean, clearly.
Talk about starting with puppy tennis balls.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
could fit that in there.
Okay. That one.
Now that we're backtracking.
Yeah, okay, that's what we really
it's
need.
like
Just want to clear that out, guys.
7 minutes
Don't
later,
stick
what I meant to say.
Don't stick shit up your dog's assholes, okay?
I think we could definitely start off with that message. Welcome to Witches Hill, and we highly condone not doing anything that was just talked about to your animal.
We love dogs. Save those beads for the people.
So I am Tim.
Yes, you are.
Yes, I am.
I'm Pat.
Yes, and we are here with two people today. We are with Nikki and Shelby.
Hi.
Hola.
So today we are planning. We wanted to do an episode on underrated horror gold mines. Those like little niche movies you caught a long fucking time ago that just were so fucking awesome, or at least you remembered that they were awesome.
Nostalgia factor plays a big role in one of these.
It does, because even I was just like, oh, I was terrified of this. That's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it works though. I mean, I picked one that I was like terrified of as a kid.
And that's why I was like, when I started thinking about it, I was like, wait, I thought it was underrated horror movies. I guess it's like whatever. And then I thought about it. I'm like, no, I think that he's on the right track here.
It's
with
mindfucky.
It is, and I gotta, like, when we get to it, are we, like, save it? Like, we should, like, save his for, like, a big reveal, because
Oh yeah.
it's great. It is.
Yeah.
Don't drum roll on this table.
Please. We are going to fuck everyone's speakers.
Yeah, exactly. Like, my car might actually just catch on fire. But yeah, I think that I do think that it's like a big nostalgia. Well, actually, no, because mine I saw for the first time in high school.
This was actually my first time seeing it. I've never heard of it until, once we like met and started hanging out.
Yeah.
That's why I was introduced to it, and I gotta say, I was really happy with it.
Good. So, and I think that that's why I chose mine, is because not only is it something that not only people have either like never heard of or never seen, but also it's a little controversial. Like, I went back and I looked at, like, I started reading reviews about it on like IMDb and Amazon and shit like that, and like I was like reading reviews about it, and it was either all of those reviews were a 1 or a 10. There was no in between. Like, there's no gray area with this movie. People love it or they hate it, which I found interesting. So I was like, oh, controversial bonus.
Hell yeah. So I guess we're gonna start off with your choice, and that was, of course, Suspiria.
Suspiria. So, Suspiria it kind of comes to mind for me whenever I talk about, like, somebody were to ask you, like, what's your favorite horror movie? Like, for me, it's like, if I had, like, a top 3, Exorcist, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Suspiria. Suspiria always hits my top mark. And again, I saw that movie for the first time in high school. And if you've never seen Suspiria, are we doing spoilers?
Yes, I pretty much. It's always.
It's
assumed.
always like big spoiler alert here. Okay.
Yes.
So, like, the thing that I love so much about Suspiria, and to why, to me, it was such a horrifying film, was the fact that it was so anxiety building. It's kind of pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and then nothing really happens. There's a lot that goes on in that movie that never really comes to fruition, and it's all done without the use of, like, jump scares or anything like that. It's all the use of, like, you know, Dario Argento to me, not to sound too much like an asshole, that movie for me is a masterpiece, because Dario Argento was able to induce anxiety using lighting, camera angles, music, sound effects, without any really terrifying visuals. And that's why,
they actually didn't even they didn't show too much.
No.
Like, occasionally, I think during the first
scene, in the first scene, you know, it has a really scary, like, first scene. A girl ends up being, you know, she's, like, running through the woods and she's scared of something and you don't know what it is, and then something reaches its hand through a glass window, pulls her out, and then a cable gets, like, wrapped around her neck, and then she falls through, like, a glass ceiling and is hung and is, like, just hanging there with this cable wrapped around her neck, just, like, dripping blood. And, like, that's, like, the first scene, and then it switches immediately to, like, a bright sunny day with, like, happy people all around, happy beautiful people everywhere.
The soundscapes they used really were very anxiety inducing.
Mm-hmm.
I did love it for that fact. They used a lot of that red lighting and just that, like, I guess it's like one single riff that just keeps building up with intensity.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll use the same thing throughout the entire movie. So it's like different scenes. You're, like you said, you're expecting something, but then nothing really happens, and it's like, oh, god damn it.
So, I haven't seen the movie, but from, like, the way you guys are kind of explaining everything, and for the people who haven't seen it, I'm pretty sure they're wondering, is this, like, strictly or at least mainly a psychological horror film?
It is.
Yes.
It is, and then there are, like, scary visuals at the end of it.
Okay.
And so
dead people. I mean,
Yeah.
in that first scene, they did show the woman getting stabbed, and they'll do, like, close-ups of it. But again, this was 1977, so it's not like, don't expect.
It wasn't super hot, but it was hot.
Yeah.
Well, and that's it was 1977. I mean, Dario Argento, even at that time, still wasn't, like, you know, an incredibly, you know, he's incredibly well known, at least not in the States. He's an Italian filmmaker. The film is set in Germany, so, you know, it's not, like, dubbed or subbed or anything like that. But I think that even for the 70s, it was still a bit of an underground feel. Or, I mean, I obviously wasn't around then, but the way that I can kind of picture it is, like, maybe when this movie came out, it was one of those, like, flash in the pan type of things. Like, it came out, people liked it, and then they forgot about it. Because, you know, in the 1970s, he really did lean into that whole kind of, like, psychedelic mindfuck type of thing. Mm-hmm. And if you've ever seen any of his other movies, they're all that way. All of Dario Argento's films are that way, where he likes to use more of, like, the psyche to kind of get in your head. And so there's scenes in that movie where, like, a girl is sitting in a room and she's listening to the people above her walking, and she counts footsteps, and then she tries to follow them by counting their footsteps, and all the while it's dark and there's, like, a little bit of red lighting, and then the music starts to build, and then she can hear breathing, and, like, so it's and then again, next morning, bright sunny day, literally nothing happened.
Yep.
If there's a funny thing in the trailer for this movie, when it first came,
I didn't see the trailers.
So the trailer's funny because, I mean, it's the 70s, so, like, to us it's cheesy, to them it's probably not, but, like, the trailer that came out for this movie actually says, in, like, the worst voice you've ever heard, but he says, the only thing scarier than the last 12 minutes of Suspiria are the first 92.
Oh my
It was
God.
like, I heard that shit, I laughed so hard. I watched the trailer because I showed it to a friend of ours, and I actually took him to see it, who's also a big, huge movie buff, but, like, he'd never seen Suspiria. And so the first time he ever saw it, they were showing it at the patio on the original 35 millimeter. So
Ooh, that would have been cool.
It was badass, dude. So he'd never seen it, and so I took him to the patio to see it, and all the while he's like sitting in the theater, and this is a guy who like knows his like he's definitely like a horror film like veteran, and he's sitting there, and I'm watching the anxiety build on his face. And I can like watch it in his body language, like he's getting stiff, he's getting rigid all the while this film is just building. And I think that that's why it's such a like probably one of my favorite movies, because he in 1977 they were able to induce so much fear about this movie with literally nothing happening. It's sound, it's lighting, it's music, and that's it. And I don't think filmmakers today could even do that.
No, too many people rely on like jump scares and like just visuals. Specifically that jumping out at you. And
I mean, I have no respect for jump scares. I will give it to like terrifying visuals. If you can make something that's like super scary to look at, I will kind of give it to you a little bit on that.
Oh,
but,
fuck yeah.
But
if
practical effects.
Practical effects.
If all of your horror within the movie relies on that, then it's like, come on, now you're just being fucking lazy.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times I also really like to give it to it with storyline, but even the storyline with Suspiria is one that's a little off, and I don't like to tell people the storyline of it, because a lot of times if I do, they won't see it. Because, so if you've never seen Suspiria, it's about a girl from the United States who is a ballerina, and then she goes to train at a dance academy in Germany, and then it's found out that this academy is being run by a coven of witches.
And that was, I do have to admit, that was the one thing that bothered me, because I actually, hold on, I have a quote that I had to write down from the movie.
And if you go back and you watch it a second time, you'll notice that when Goblin is the name of the band that does the music for it. Yeah. So they do that really creepy music, and there are parts in it where like the music will build, and then there's like a whisper that just says "witch."
A lot.
That sounds kind of cheesy.
It is. 1977.
Yeah. So okay, I have the quote here. Now the main actress. She goes to talk to this like old professor who is, I guess, a expert on witches.
Yeah.
And this was a quote from what he said. When she asked, what are witches, he says, they are malefic, negative, and destructive. Their knowledge of the occult gives them tremendous powers. They can change the course of events and people's lives, but only to do harm. Their goal is to accumulate great personal wealth, but that can only be achieved by injury to others. They can cause suffering, sickness, and even death to those that have offended them. And that was the only thing that bothered me about it, because it's like, that is such a one-sided opinion, man.
He's a cunt.
Well, I mean, I really don't think that Dario Argento was out to make a statement about witches, about witchcraft or the occult.
And this was 77. I mean,
that was the opinion.
Exactly. I mean,
right after everything,
It's only been recently that people are starting to realize, okay, everything we've been taught about witches is taught mainly from a viewpoint of the church. So
let me put it into perspective for you. We're talking 15 years before the Satanic Panic. Before the Satanic Panic.
And this was just...
And the fact that witchcraft and the occult and Satanism did to this country what it did in the late 80s and early 90s, like, it really puts it into perspective of what people thought 15, 20 years before that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And this is another thing. This movie was shot only 9 years after the birth of the Church of Satan. So, or 8 years, actually. Because that was first started in 69. So... Yeah, that really does make sense. This is in the beginning of everyone kind of having this more open viewpoint about that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What I was saying before too about the whole thing about like why I love this movie so much, about like all of the reviews about this movie being so black and white and controversial. So when I want to get like fan reviews, I don't look at like Rotten Tomatoes because those are like actual critics, but like I love, it's my favorite thing ever to read like the most negative reviews on like Amazon or IMDb. And it's not that I'm gonna be a little judgy here. I started like forming in my head the avatar of the guy who's like writing or girl, whatever, that's like writing all the negative reviews, and it was like they were coming off as people who, you know, everyone has that friend where like they need to have the most negative opinion to seem like the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
Because every single review had a word like trite or dreck or something like that, like a monosyllabic word that made him sound smart, and I'm just like
I think everyone has a friend. Everyone has a friend like that.
Everyone has that friend, so that's why I'm like picturing this like neckbeard fedora like avatar, just like sitting there who uses words like that, and is like and so they're sitting there and they're just like, you know, it's saying that it was like maybe too overly artistic for them, and I'm just like, okay, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. On the other hand, fuck you.
Yeah.
So,
oh my god.
And I will say I'm really piqued because actually the first time I heard of this was the fact that it was just remade by Amazon, I believe.
I haven't seen it yet.
Neither have I, but I really want to now.
I want to. I think that like this is what got you and I to become friends, was that like I really softened on horror movie remakes because of Evil Dead. So like Evil Dead was what made me go, okay.
They can do it good.
You can do that. I got, you know, like the fact that Sam Raimi had a hand in it had a lot to do with it. But
yes.
and I think that that's what kind of opened my mind to it. You know,
yes.
I was open minded about it because of Sam Raimi specifically. I have softened towards horror movie remakes. You know, it was great and like all sorts of other things, and so I do want to see the Suspiria remake. The only thing that really bothers me, and I think that why I've kind of subconsciously held back, is because, you know, this is a movie that's based, as I said, all not so much in visual, but in this like anxiety-inducing psychological. And if I go in there and it's a fucking CGI cartoon, I'm gonna be really hurt. The only good thing is the only thing that I can take comfort in is that this wasn't a multi-billion-dollar big weekend theatrical release.
Yeah, that's true.
Because when I first heard about 2 years ago that they were remaking Suspiria, and that's what I thought was going to happen, and I was like, fuck, no, this is House of Wax all over again. No one knows about the original. They only know about this one, and I'm going to be really pissed and come off like an asshole. So I haven't seen it yet. I'm certain that I will at some point. I'm just been... lazy, I guess, is the best way to put it.
I get that. Because I'll think about it and just be like, oh yeah, I should go see that, and then forget that I want to see it.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, when I'm sitting, like, it's like a Saturday or Friday night, and I'm like, I'm going to watch a movie. What should I watch? Something new? No, something I've seen 8 or 9 times.
Yep. Let's binge watch this show again.
Yeah, I know. I could use another 3rd season of Scrubs. Let me get on it. I will see it at some point. But Tim, what was like your overall opinion of it, though? I
really liked it. For being from '77, I've just recently, a lot of the older movies from like the '60s and '70s, I will admit that I never saw, because I always thought horror movies, how they are now, they kind of desensitized me, so it's going to be boring. That was my mindset for years.
Got it.
It was this year, actually, that I just finally watched, Psycho. The original Psycho.
The original Alfred Hitchcock? Really?
Was that Hitchcock?
Yeah.
I fucking
I
fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And so I really like this one. And I would definitely recommend any horror buff to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like and I think that I don't think that you're alone in thinking that. I think that for a lot of fans, horror began with Friday the 13th. Do you know what I mean? Like, or it began with Halloween. It began with hack and slash. It began with gory franchise hack and slash, which is fine. I mean, there's absolutely my entire life savings is going away to go meet Robert Englund next year. So like there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I love it too, but it's also that whole thing of like, you know, if that's what you're into, great, but there's also, you know, the idea of kind of expanding horizons to go back. I mean, and if somebody who's not into horror, they come to me and they ask me to recommend them a truly scary movie, I go Exorcist every time. Mm-hmm. And that was, again, a movie that was made right around the same time. It was made in like the late 70s, 78.
What do you think is more terrifying, the movie or the true story of what happened to the entire production crew? Because that's fucked. That's a horror movie within a horror movie.
You heard that one? You heard that the doctor that examined her ended up being an actual murderer.
Did he?
I
shit.
want to do
Yeah.
an entire episode on that specifically.
No,
What
it's
happened to the
it's
crew?
just all sorts of
What
shit.
happened to the crew?
There were multiple people that like fell ill, were hurt on set. I think the director and the producer were flying in 2 separate planes, and at the exact same time, both were struck by lightning.
Mm-hmm.
Like
What?
bunch of
No,
weird
it's
shit.
it is. It's like a shit ton of weird
What?
shit that happened,
Yeah.
and then yeah, the doctor that examined her in that movie, he's an actual he was an actual murderer.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Wow.
We will be doing an episode on
Yeah,
this.
we have to.
Do
a
it.
whole episode on
Do it
this.
because that's great.
We touched upon it just recently. Ronald Doe. I think that was the code name the church gave him.
I think so.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I am more scared watching that movie than hearing about the stories behind that.
Mhm.
Now that's a movie. If they made a movie about the
Oh fuck yeah! They should
about
totally
the-
make that.
bro, for real.
I'd watch that.
Oh,
Real.
fuck yeah.
Listen, Hollywood, you can have that for free. Like,
Come on, someone do it.
like, you gotta do it, man. Like, call... No, not Eli Roth. I was gonna say, you know who would do a really bad job at that? Eli Roth. No.
Oh, James Wan would probably do a really good job with that.
He would.
That would be interesting.
I love that man.
But no, yeah, no, in answer to your question, I definitely, like, but again, it's that whole thing of, like, that movie was not based solely in CGI. It's a movie that is still taught about and used as an example in film schools today because
yeah.
of everything that goes on with it. And so I care a lot about the substance that's within those movies and stuff like that. But, like, at the same time, I'm like, dude, you like The Conjuring, or if you like anything that's, like, got CGI and jump scares, great. I mean, you like what you like. But when it comes to horror, there's so much more than jump scares and or hack and slash. There's a lot there that you can really get into. This October, I recently started running my son through a couple of Vincent Price's old movies.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Vincent Price.
He first saw a Vincent Price movie, an episode of Svengoolie. They did The Mad Magician, which is a great movie. And then so I took him through, like, Dr. Phibes, and I took him through, what else? House of Wax, and, like, a bunch of other ones. And so, like, I was, and then at the same time I was explaining to him, like, these movies came out the year that your grandparents were born, in the early 50s, and they can be terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
So... There are some that age very well. I think Suspiria has aged well.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch that. You guys sold me on that.
Yes.
Definitely do it and report back. Like, text me and
Oh,
tell
I
me
will.
what you thought, because
Oh, yeah.
I'd be very... And also, if you watch it and you end up hating it, then fine. Like, I wouldn't... I've talked to people before who haven't liked this movie, and I've never tried to change their minds. I'm like, I'm really just curious. Like, why?
Well, here, let me put it like this. Everybody who's listening probably hates the Babadook. I fucking loved the Babadook.
I thought that was a great movie.
Okay.
I
cool.
only hated the last fucking minute. I loved the movie, but the last minute. Or... Never mind, I'm
Yeah,
not going to
it's
get
fine.
into something.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was out with a friend of ours, with a friend the other night, and, like, he was telling me that a mutual friend who's, like, goes beyond fan, he's more like a snob, and he was talking about how badly he hated the new Halloween. And I'm just like, you're just a snob, dude. Like, you can, like, just like something for once.
So, okay, I guess then we're going to switch it over to the next one. Now, this was my choice. And I wasn't sure how to do this. I chose the Trilogy of Terror. But, of course, there's one from, was it 77?
75.
75.
It was 70. Okay, the original was from 1975. I did not choose that one. Unfortunately, Pat and Nikki thought I did, so that's the one they watched.
Yeah, we watched the old version. He watched the 1996 version, and we got massively confused earlier when we were talking about a very specific scene.
So you know what, though, that kind of helps out. So why don't you walk through, because I saw the 1975 one a long time ago. There's one specific, if no one's ever seen this, there's 3 short stories. They're like 15, maybe 20 minutes long, and they're just 3 completely independent short horror stories all in one movie.
The first one's like Julia, the second one...
Yeah, I see the only one that I want.
First one was like the rapey high school kid. That was
Yeah, it was
actually a
called Julia.
30-year-old man.
Well,
No, I could call him 35 years
there's a
old.
lot
'cause he
to
looked old,
unpack.
dude. like, seriously, he's taller than everybody,
Yeah,
and
seriously.
he's hitting
Just
on
like
the
the
teacher,
actor
and no
himself
one's
was like
questioning
an
it.
old
The
man.
teacher looks younger than him.
Look into my
Yeah.
crow's feet eyes.
what are you doing after school? So okay, then what was the second one on that?
I don't remember. I think didn't you say it was about the sisters?
Yeah, I think so. Something along those lines. It was really hard to watch.
Yeah, the second one was really
fucking
hard to watch. Not gonna lie
dude.
about that. But then the third one was the Zuni fetish thing.
This was the whole reason I chose the Trilogy of Terror, was because of the Zuni fetish warrior doll, and it's this little doll who's this African tribesman, and the spirit of some ancient warrior is trapped within inside. And if you take this gold chain off, you release his spirit. The spirit and doll become one, and he is fucking terrifying. I was fucking scared shitless when my parents first showed me this.
As a child, I could see how that's terrifying.
Yeah, I would be
Like,
scared shitless
yeah.
as a child. But right now, like those people who like watch it, it's
It's so I was laughing so hard, especially because like I didn't watch the 75 one, I watched the 96 one.
Yep.
But like especially when they were
Oh
like,
my
oh, the
God.
gold chain, and when they present the gold chain, I was like, that's a bracelet from Claire's. Like,
I will say,
I was expecting something.
like ornate.
I was expecting something a little bit more authentic to the doll itself, and then they're just like, no, I took this off a rich Persian guy, like, like it was so, but it was still, I didn't see the 96 one, I didn't see the 75 one, just the 96 one, but as soon as that thing, like, it starts out really terrifying with, like, these two murder victims in their apartment, and then, like, they're trying to figure this out, and then the doctor is, like, scraping the charred remains off of it and everything, but it's...
Totally different.
Yeah.
Well,
Totally
no,
different.
the second one, the one in '96, it was a made-for-TV movie. Again, three
That
independent.
explains everything.
Yes, because it had the whole like commercial cutaway.
It
parts.
was an episode of Tales from the Crypt.
Essentially, yeah.
That whole movie was, I was like, Ryan came home halfway through me watching it, and he was like, oh, is this the one that they told you to watch? I was like, yeah. And I said to him, I was like, this is, well, because he's sitting there and he's like, this is adult Are You Afraid of the Dark? And I'm like, or Tales from the Crypt. Like, that's exactly what it reminded me of. The acting, that every part of it was Tales from the Crypt.
It was so just like stereotypical 90s.
Oh, so good. It was great.
Does somebody have a bowl cut?
Yeah, the little
kid in the second one?
The little, let's play hide and seek, mommy! Like,
God. Okay, so we're gonna start at the top because I have a lot to say at this one. This was the one that I chose. The first one was a story about this woman that's married to this old guy who's a fucking dick. Like,
oh, dude,
Oh,
he's like the poor man's Ed Asner. Like, he's just, he was the biggest, like the first 2 minutes of this movie, he's showing his wife a video that he took of her, like, fucking her lover.
who worked for this guy's company. He was one of the managers, like the second.
He's like the heir to his company. Okay.
Yes.
And his wife is fucking him, and it's like, it was so cringy.
It really was. And then he said, I'm not even gonna go to the specifics. You're gonna have to get the details from it itself.
Yeah, please don't. I'm gonna set myself on fire.
It was like a bad HBO porno.
But it
was.
There was one thing I caught though in one of the scenes. The wife is talking to her lover, and they specifically say cousins.
They are.
So it's like, wait. You guys are cousins too?
By the way, they really glossed over that. Like, I was like, and because I was the same way, like, right when they said cousin, I was just like, well, hold on, are we just putting a pin in that? Like, what? Like, they moved past that with such grace that I was like, what? Okay, first of all, them being cousins is a hat on a hat. Like, they're already having an affair. Why must they be related?
Just butter and toast.
And he was such a tool. Throughout the things he would say, the way he said it, I was just like, God, I hate you. Well, please die.
We found out where he keeps his money. Where's the liquor cabinet? Like, so. And then, did you notice?
Yeah, completely different.
When they went to the bar, to like that was outside of the graveyard that he was buried at, and then like the Undertaker was there.
Yeah.
And he was talking to him. Did you notice who that was?
I recognized him, but I couldn't point it out.
He was the old guy that was in Devil's Rejects.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, remember when they took over those
gas
people's
station guy?
no, when they took over those people's hotel room?
Oh my god, yeah, he was!
Yeah, he was. As soon as he came on screen, he was the one that like Sherry Moon like seduced him, and he took her back to they went back to his hotel room.
And then that's when Sherry Moon and her brother, they storm in and hold the family hostage.
Vaguely familiar. I've only seen that movie.
Brian
like, 3
Posehn was
times.
shot in the fucking face.
Oh, yeah. Dude, when that one chick runs out and gets hit by the fucking semi.
I have never laughed in a movie theater harder in my
I did too.
goddamn life.
I fucking laughed at that!
I have never laughed harder in a movie theater. But yeah, there was the same guy. As soon as he came on screen, I was like, no shit. And the only way I could describe it to Ryan, because he'd only recently seen that movie for the first time, I was like, the only way I could describe it to Ryan, I was like, remember when Bill Moseley shoved his gun in that chick's undies? That was his wife. But go on. You were talking about like the storyline of it though.
That's pretty much what I wanted to say. I don't want to go too much into it.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, it speaks for itself.
It does. Like, but it was. I think that I kind of turned off to the whole storyline when they was revealed that they were cousins. I was really upset.
Yeah. Me and Diane were pretty much just solidly making fun of this movie the entire time.
Oh, you got to.
That's just completely different from
Oh, yeah.
the 75.
Yeah, the first
'Cause,
one?
like,
Well, you can't make a
it was
sequel
about-
20 years later.
it was about a lady that was a high school teacher, and one of her students was like trying to hit on her and like take her out and shit.
You know what her characteristics were? Because
Huh.
you made me watch Vampires Suck the other night, and I'm not gonna lie, the movie was so bad, but it was so fucking funny.
Right.
It was like it's like a guilty pleasure now. But all I could keep thinking of was Kristen Stewart as the teacher. Is just like, yeah, I guess. Okay. Like, you want to date me? Why do you want to date me? I'm the teacher. You could have anybody. Yeah, it was like a mix of Kristen Stewart.
That's really
and
gross
Miss
for a teacher
Honey.
to say that.
Right.
And Miss
Yeah.
Honey from Matilda.
That's really
It was like that with like a young Jeffrey Dahmer who was just really into photography, and he's just like, I really just want to look at you, and then he fucking drugs her.
Yeah, he like brings her out on a date to the movies. He goes to get them drinks, and then he puts like some shit in her drink. She's like, it tastes bitter. He's like, yeah, mine too.
And then the entire time he's staring at her.
Yeah, like just.
And she's just looking forward, like, I'm kind of sleepy. Like, she can't see him out of her peripheral vision. Like, he's just like, come on, pass out, bitch. My boner's not gonna last all night. Like, come on.
And then he goes and rents a hotel. He's like, I have a room for me and my wife. And then he goes upstairs and like, he takes pictures of her. And he's like, I told you my hobby was photography, because he shows her the pictures.
And the next thing you know, that
And like
180s
blackmails her, yeah. And then she goes fucking psycho.
and kills him.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a roller coaster.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
Like, she just fucking 180s it, and she's just like, you know what? I did the same thing that you did to me, except instead of poison, like,
killed you.
Yeah, he's just like, you poisoned me. She's like, no, honey, I killed you. And then he's just like, no! And he stands up and falls over. It was the cheesiest fucking death.
Fantastic.
It was just, done.
Oh my god.
All right.
It was horrible.
I get the only one that was connected was the very last one with the Zuni fetish warrior doll.
Which was also really hard. Like, they had like a 5-minute scene of this lady talking to her fucking mom.
On the phone, but it's just her.
Only one
holding
side.
the
You can't
phone, yeah.
hear anything. Just,
Oh yeah.
One side.
okay, mom.
Mother, I'm not yelling at you.
Bitch, you're yelling right now. Like, right now.
God, my mom would find a way to hurt me very badly while I was on that phone. I swear that way.
Right.
And she's so calm about, like, okay, where did you go?
Right,
You must
when
have
she's looking
fallen
for the
off the
doll.
table when it was, like, clearly in the middle of the table.
And then she poked her finger on its spear when it was under the couch. She's like, oh, well, I'm getting close. How'd you get to the back?
I found your spear. Where are you? And she starts hearing, like, little tapping, running around the fucking
What's
room.
going on?
The way that
Shucks.
thing ran was my favorite thing. Well, like, there was like a similar thing, like when she discovered in the second, in the 96 one, when she discovered that it was missing, it's my absolute favorite thing when something, like, relatively large was sitting on a table and it's gone missing. Someone always looks under a sheet of paper.
Just starts pulling up all the paper looking for it.
And she did that at least 6 times. She's
God.
one of these is gonna be it.
You're around here somewhere, I swear.
Yeah,
Where did I put that
exactly.
portal?
Like the way when I was a kid, I first saw that when it came out in '96 because my parents had seen it, and of course they let me watch it.
Love it.
They terrified me because they said they had one, and my dad was really good at mimicking the way it sounded.
Oh no.
So of course I think I was fucking 7 when that came out. So the way it ran creeped the holy hell out of me. Especially in the second one when it's going through the museum. Like, they did a better job in the second one than the first, I will say, because the first one...
It's just in her apartment, and she just keeps running and closing different doors, thinking that it's not going to get through the fucking door again.
It's bad because it looks like someone's holding the bottom of a doll and just shaking it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It kept cutting through that, and it's going...
My favorite part in the first one is when she's screaming, hiding behind a door, like, no, no, no! And all it is a goddamn butter knife going back and
Popping in
forth.
and out underneath
like
the door.
She's like, oh, it's gonna get me if it grew like another 1.5 feet, but...
I know, that's the one thing. They had a scene like that in the 96 one as well.
Oh,
and I just
glad.
kept thinking, like, couldn't you just, like, hold the door and step a few feet back
Right,
and lean
like,
against it?
No, the payoff of that scene was great because she was holding the door closed.
Oh, and got the suitcase?
And then she gets a suitcase and like with one hand she somehow
Yeah.
finagles it open.
Yeah.
And then lets it in the door and it runs right into
Yeah.
the suitcase.
Yeah,
it was like
exactly.
so Looney Tunes that
Oh, okay, so that happened in the 96 version too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly the same way. She opens it,
Yep,
and she
exactly.
just seals it up, just like, holy fuck!
And then it starts...
Cutting
So that's
it
how you do it.
Okay, wait. You have
my
to tell me
God.
because there's one thing in the '96 one. She did something that's so stupid. It's trying to cut its way out of that suitcase,
Try to grab
and
the
she
knife.
tries to grab the
Yeah.
knife. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
"Are you a fucking idiot?"
And then she cuts herself, she's like, oh.
And keeps going.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Oh,
Knife
God.
sharp, pokey.
Okay, let me guess. Then she grabs it and throws it into the oven?
No,
No,
in
okay.
this one, she throws it into a vat of
Sulfuric acid.
No.
Where the fuck did she get that?
No, because this is happening in a lab. She is
Oh, yeah, no.
She works in a lab in a museum to where her whole job is restoring ancient artifacts.
Okay.
So the detectives, it's found in an apartment where some people have been murdered, and the detectives find it in an oven.
it is a direct continuation from it. It's
Oh,
the
that's cool.
cops arriving to the
Those
house.
dead people have been there for
Okay.
20 years.
Okay.
They pull open the oven, find it, so they give it to her and say, "You need to restore this. This may be some kind of clue or evidence for these slayings." And that's why she
See-
starts restoring it, and it comes back to life.
In
But-
a way, that doesn't make too much sense because at the end of that movie, in
Yeah.
the first one, the main chick who was running around, she's like crouches down and like she's talked to somebody on the phone who's on their
Her
way
mom.
over. Oh, her
She
mom's
called
on
her
her way
mom, 'cause,
over.
like, her mom-
And she's
It started with her on the phone, canceling the plans with her mom because she met the dude that lives in the apartment building that she moves into, and she was going to spend the evening with him because it was his birthday, and they got in this huge fight over it, and then she's like, after she goes through all this shit of being chased by that thing, she throws it into the oven, and then she, after it's done burning, she pulls the oven open, and then she just goes, woo! And, like,
she just slowly falls back.
and then the next scene, I was like, that was her getting possessed. That little thing that
Yes,
she got possessed.
with the
So-
camera rushing at her.
No, it
No.
just sat in the oven behind the fire, and you just see her like fall back like that, going, oh!
Okay, that
And then-
again, that's the same thing of how the '96
And then
one
she
ended.
calls her
Yeah.
mom back. She's like, I'm sorry for how I acted earlier. We can still have our evening. I know it's late, but you should come over. And then she crouches down with a knife, just like stabbing the floor, waiting for her mom to show up in front of the door.
She starts smiling and you see all her fucking like long, sharp ass teeth. So like she's possessed.
Yep. Yeah, they did the exact same one in the 96 version, is that the doll got into the doctor, even though it was all boiled in acid and shit. Like the spirit got into the doctor, and then she comes running like a mad woman out of an elevator.
You know, with all these like remakes of like the Leprechauns coming back, they're gonna be.
I am excited for that.
I am too
because the
it's
Leprechaun
ridiculous.
is so ridiculously gold.
My
But
dad used to joke
they
about
should
that
bring it
movie,
back.
but I've
The
never
fact-
seen it. So
Huh?
I was
They
like,
should bring back Trilogy of Terror, like, but do it in such like, give it a good enough production value.
I'd say do it the same way.
Same
the
way.
first two need to be completely independent. Then you got to continue the fucking the
The doll.
Zuni doll.
But
do
how,
it differently.
I was gonna say, how are they gonna? Because I mean, I don't know what the market is to make new cheesy movies nowadays. So like, I'm curious as to if they make this into like a theatrical thing. like, I don't know how palpable that's going to be nowadays.
If anybody's listening right now and you had any ties with that movie, get us the rights for that movie.
That would be amazing.
That
we will remake it.
That director is working at your local Starbucks. Go talk to him and get him to agree.
I'm sorry, you made my drink wrong, but can I have the rights to your movie?
You spelled my name wrong. Anyway. But I do want to talk about the second part of it.
Oh, the second part of the 96?
Yeah.
Okay, this one... Oh, boy, this one.
It was so good, and I hated the payoff.
Yeah.
The payoff was god-awful, if you want to, like, tell what happens in that one.
So, the second one was all about this woman. She's on this, like, decently sized house on the edge of this monster cliff, and she's mourning the death of her son. They don't outwardly say it in the beginning, but they very hint at the fact that he fell off the cliff and died.
He disappeared, yeah.
And she's like super sad and depressed about it. So what does she do? She draws a ritual circle and tries to bring him back with a fucking dark ass fucking satanic ritual.
Oh.
But I had to watch this on YouTube. It's the only place I've ever found this at. And it is the first time I found it in fucking years. And they removed all the audio from just the ritual. It came back when she was just saying something and there was just lightning and she's standing there, and then it cuts out again. And it's like, really?
What if somebody actually, like, read it aloud and, like, just crazy shit happened? It was like, nope, cutting that out.
I mean, it was 96, and the rest of the movie was pretty bad. How accurate could it be?
Like, the guy that uploaded that clip in particular, I love horror movies, but you know what I hate? Satan. Gonna take this part out.
That's what I felt about it. It's like, oh no, that's too dark and evil. We're gonna remove that right now, you know.
Why is he Irish?
No, he's
Irish.
Canadian.
I was gonna say, I was like, that's like an Irish Midwestern person.
That's like a Wisconsin thing.
I was gonna say Canadian.
Oh, don't you know?
We're gonna take this out, don't you know?
That was way too good.
It's the mom from Bobby's World.
Whenever I hear that voice, I just think Sarah Palin.
Yeah.
I can see Russia from my house. No, we were watching Freakazoid last night, and we realized that the Midwestern mom accent is in like every '90s cartoon. Like every '90s cartoon had that I will say like everything in the style of like Hanna-Barbera had like that really or like anything on Warner Brothers had the really Midwestern mom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because she. Like, as soon as she started talking, we're like, God, every mom in the 90s was all from Minnesota. They were all from Minnesota because that's how she had Dexter. Like, it was great.
Yep. So the story continues. She's successful. She brings him back, and, you know, he seems like he's okay, but then just weird starts happening, and he's like, we're going to play hide and seek, mommy.
Every time he said mommy, a year left my life.
I was so annoyed by it.
I hated it so bad. It was, you never loved me, mommy! Like,
and it's just him running around, and then he's chasing her with a knife, and this is another one. I'm not going to say the ending, but I will say it was very disappointing.
the payoff was awful. Like, I thought about maybe 3 or 4 different endings to that skit, and all of the ones I thought of were better than what happened. And that's such a bummer when that happens.
Yep.
You know, I was like, that could have been such... Again, fucking Are You Afraid of the Dark would give a better twist ending than this did. Like,
Are You Afraid of the Dark was a fun show.
it was, and it always had that twist ending. It always had that, like, the end question mark type of situation. So,
Yeah.
it was... I liked it until the end.
Yep.
So, it was still decent, you know?
Yes. How would you rate Trilogy of Terror as a whole, though? The 96 one.
I was just about to say that.
Well, I didn't see the 75 one. I'm going to now.
Oh, it's brilliant. 10-star. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10 out
You
of
guys
10 would watch
highly
again.
recommend it?
I highly recommend it for all the wrong reasons.
Well, I mean, if you're talking to like a group of people who like,
so
you know,
corny.
grew up on shit like Mystery Science Theater and stuff like that, then like, you know, I will watch it because I love a good riffing material.
It's like so bad it's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, don't expect like, wow, that was quality.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
That was a top shelf flick right
yeah,
there.
right. Why didn't anybody get an Emmy for this?
Okay, that's understandable.
I think that I would. It's difficult to give a rating to something that has 3 completely separate movies to it, but
Yeah.
I think that I would probably give it maybe a 6 or 7, and that's being generous just because of that nostalgia factor. Because in my head the whole time I'm just going like I'm waiting for the Crypt Keeper to start laughing, like I'm waiting for him to pop up. I'm curious as to, you talked about why you liked it, but like why specifically like underrated though?
I see. I chose that because I haven't seen it since I was fucking 7.
Okay.
Because I've never been able to find it anywhere. I bring it up and no one knows what I'm talking about. Any disc replay, I can't find it anywhere. I've checked streaming services, Amazon. I couldn't even find the goddamn DVD. I found like an Australian.
It's probably not even printed on it.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I found I found it on VHS, but it was an Australian specific VHS, so I had to get an Australian VHS player, but I needed to somehow get a power cord converter because they have different plugs than us.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I'm not going to watch this then. This is just too much work.
That's a lot to do even for an American VHS player.
Exactly. So okay, this was my first time seeing it again. Like I said, when I was 7, the Zuni doll terrified me. I was scared I could not sleep for the longest time because of that fucking last part of the movie.
I love it.
I laughed at it now.
It's hard not to laugh at it.
But I mean, in the 96 one, there's a specific scene where it's like this weird low camera angle in the bottom of the dark museum, and you just see it run past the screen super quick. And that again was still creepy. Like I still shuddered at that. Ugh, little fucker.
I think most people would have the same feelings about it. Like, I mean, I saw that movie for the first time at 28. Mm-hmm. So I think that if I saw it for the first time at 7, that would be a much different situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I even just because of all of the style of it and all like the points that they hit was just nostalgic for anything scary that happened in the 90s, be it Are You Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps or what have you. Like that's all that it reminded me of. So I had a very great time watching it. So even though my rating may not be high, but still 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Yes. I as well the same.
You know what you do? That's a damn good party movie though. Like
That's something to have in the background, and if you watch a couple minutes of it, you can sit there with whoever's watching it with you and just make the fucking fun of it.
We do that all the time at my house. Like if like people are over and like we have like some of the weirdest fucking movies, and then we're just like, we somehow have Reefer Madness on DVD.
I do.
Do you? It's great. And then like we've got like 5 Minutes to Live, which was that movie that Johnny Cash was in for some reason, and like
Oh my god.
oh, it's great, you guys. It's great. And so
my
like
God.
it's a great like party movie. Just put it on in the background. So I think you got something there.
Fuck yeah.
Get other people into it, because people are gonna be like, the fuck is this movie?
No one's heard of it.
And then like especially like the first part with all the rats,
Yes.
where it was like a cross between like, for me it was like a cross between like Watership Down and Princess Bride. With those rats, they were great.
They were
fucking great.
Creepy as well. So, before we continue with the last one, which the last one we've talked about since we've been planning this episode, quite controversial, actually.
I wouldn't say controversial. I'd just say a wild as fuck card.
It's
this.
one
Well,
hell
but-
of a wild card.
And I'm going to argue this.
But but like the part that I'm most curious about is why underrated? Like that's the thing that I don't understand.
Well,
Before we get to it,
okay, yeah.
Let's have a word with our sponsor.
Are you moving into a new home or remodeling a home or office? Are you trying to sell a home but can't seem to find the right people to buy it? Does the energy in certain parts of the home or office feel uncomfortable, spooky, stuck, or blocked? Do you feel your own personal growth, healing, and evolution has stymied? Has there been sudden pain or illness you can't explain? Has there been any deaths? Is anyone having trouble sleeping, restless children in bed, or night terrors? Is there a lot of fighting and bad experiences with the home or office? Do you ever see moving shadows, flying objects, hear voices, or smell weird odors? Do your appliances or machines break down or have mechanical issues often? Do you seem to be having a string of bad luck? If you've answered yes to any of the following questions, please consider getting a clearing by us. please contact Reverend Nancy for a quote at 630-340-0877 or her partner Amanda at 719-271-7309 or contact Euphoria Emporium at 715 East State Street in Geneva, Illinois.
All right, so now, big reveal. What was your choice?
Who framed Roger Rabbit?
I laughed when you said that was your choice.
I did too.
But I knew instantly why you picked it.
I didn't. To be fair, all right, so to the listeners, I met Pat for the first time today.
Yep, that's true.
We have never met before.
Nope.
I am so delighted. But I need to know.
Okay, so the original way everybody looks at Roger Rabbit is a kids movie, right?
Yeah,
Kids movie with a little adult
cartoons,
stuff
you know,
into
you got
it.
Bugs Bunny and shit in there. It's all the original old-ass cartoons.
Really quick, fun fact. Only time Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse have been on screen together. Continue.
Wait,
Oh, yeah.
That is a fun fact.
Yeah. No shit.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Beautiful and creepy at the same time.
Disney, I don't know if it was the same time that all Disney and Warner Brothers had been on screen together, but it was the only time that Mickey Mouse and, obviously in something licensed, but that Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny have been on screen together.
Oh, that's amazing.
Disney and Warner Brothers.
I mean, I love that movie.
Let's reach across that aisle.
Yes. I didn't know they were in a horror movie together.
So...
Okay, so everybody looks at it as like almost a really innocent movie for kids.
Yes.
And for a little like adult humor so that way the parents can enjoy it while watching it, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, well, yes, it is a kids movie. But there is so much fucked up shit that happens in that movie that people don't quite, at least from my point of view, don't fucking take into consideration when you think about a horror movie aspect. The fact that it's all about murder.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's based. The main point of the storyline is based around a murder.
Exactly. You can't kill a cartoon. Fucking watch me. The most innocent thing that a child has is the cartoons that they're watching on TV. And they slaughter them. Not like with a gun, but no, we have the goo.
That green acid that he dips the
dip.
shoe in?
The dip.
The dip, and of course when the shoe went in, every child.
Oh my god.
But it was with such. I hate to use this word, but with such elegance.
Yeah, such grace.
He did. He was with
gracefully dipped in your
with
death.
such a plum. He just like lowered that thing while it's looking him in the eyes,
Just quivering.
screaming and quivering, and
Exactly.
he is so stone cold and.
Exactly. Like that fucked me up as a kid.
What fucked me up more was the reveal of him.
Oh, we'll get to that. That's more towards the end of this, because this all fucking builds up, dude. You have like one of the first things that you see. Oh, cute little baby. Holy shit! It's drinking and smoking a cigar.
Oh, he slapped that girl on the ass too.
Yes, dude. He's a perverted baby.
Hey, doll.
Yeah, come on, yeah. And then he'd cry, and like his cry freaked me out too as a kid.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
I mean, for being a kids movie and geared towards children, that is some fucking sadistic shit to do to kids. But I thank you for it because that was amazing.
Well, the character development too of Eddie and like the whole thing behind why he hates cartoons and like he had some real the fact that he left his brother's desk the way that it was.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff going on there.
Oh hell yeah! and like one of the biggest things is just the fact that like it was Christopher Lloyd, right? The guy, yeah. Him being a cartoon hidden inside of a human. Dude, that's straight up possession. Or, if you look at it from a different point, it's like transmuting yourself into being a human. There are fucking monsters that apparently can't be killed, but that monster found a way to kill its own kind by using a different type of species.
Or can I have a third option that's slightly more terrifying?
What's that?
A tune in a skin suit.
Exactly.
Technically, it kind of was a skin suit.
It was a skin suit.
You see it like draped
When he gets
down like
flattened.
rubber. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God.
No, I'm talking
fucked.
about like he killed a human man and he's wearing his skin.
Oh yeah, definitely. I did think that too because I did not know because like how would that tune?
That's true.
And like, what was the original look of that tune too? That's a straight up demon, dude.
Yeah, they never show it, and thank God because we'd all be in a padded room.
Oh fuck yeah, dude! His eyes bulging out of his head, screaming.
That voice and the way his eyes looked when he first revealed himself, that's what fucked me up.
Dude, that still gives me chills.
For me, it wasn't so much, and I know that we're like seriously jumping the gun on that, but like for me, it wasn't so much even that part. I had nightmares about when after the steamroller went over him, and you see parts of his body curling up.
Oh yeah.
And then Bob Hoskins like has because a human man doesn't look like that if he's been crushed to death. It's just a red spray.
Yeah.
It's just a red smear. And so like when Bob Hoskins has that realization, you see like that fear of Dune's like arms and legs start to curl up. And then when he like shoots up and he's flat, and that's when I see like, oh my God, I wish you guys could see Pat right now.
Yeah, no, I completely forgot about that, and that just like all came back to me how you like almost glided and how unnatural it was.
Yeah, see that for me was the scary part, but
yeah.
The fact that like it is technically a kids movie, but they tried to, and I never really thought about this obviously until I was an adult, but it was like it was a kids movie, but it was a film noir. It was a children's film noir because it took place. First of all, it took place in that time period.
Oh yeah.
And then second of all, it's a detective solving a murder while the wife is quote unquote having an affair, playing patty cake with the biggest air quotes, and like and it's during the Prohibition, and so he's going to speakeasies, and like it's the whole film noir aspect of it. I thought was just. I think that doesn't get enough clout. So I think that I do agree with the choice of it being underrated because I don't think that people kind of look at that movie and realize what a work of art that it is.
Oh yeah, and like one of the other creepy parts, because you mentioned the whole Prohibition era, is when Roger Rabbit has that one drink and how fucking crazy he got.
That didn't fuck me up. I'm laughing just thinking about it.
Right, it fucked me up,
hilarious.
but like just the faces and how he contorted and like how he pretty much turned into Josh Brolin for a minute.
Well, and then like Bob, I thought that it was like so charming that like the whole time Bob Hoskins is put off of him because he's a toon, and then he pulls a classic duck season, rabbit season on him when he's like, "You want a drink? You do, I don't. You do, I don't. You don't, I do, I don't, I do." And I was like, "Yep." And then he does that exact same thing. He turns into like a train whistle.
Yeah. That's when he like breaks all the glasses with his whistle noise, right? In the bar.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
And didn't his car like almost die or something?
The car like drove through the dip. You saw it at the end.
Oh, that's right. His tires started like melting and shit.
Who was that? Oh, who did the voice of that car? It wasn't John DiMaggio. Who was it? It was someone.
Oh, I can't even think of it.
Isn't John DiMaggio the guy who does Bender on Futurama? Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, he's done almost any cartoon show you've ever watched. He's been in at least one episode. He's the guy. He's the guy. He's our generation's Mel Blanc. Man, he was somebody though. And I wanted to come on here and just kind of say, like, just to see what people's reaction was with Who Framed Roger Rabbit. The second best movie that Bob Hoskins has ever made.
The second?
Oh, yeah.
What's the first?
Mario.
God damn it.
Super Mario Brothers?
Yeah.
God, yes! God! He hates the fact, he regrets that he did that movie, but I fucking
Same with
loved
John Leguizamo, dude.
Like, I don't understand.
They both hate it, but it's like...
It was awesome!
It's beautiful.
I fucking loved it.
It's gorgeous.
Do you guys see those memes going around about, like, back in our day, our video game to movie adaptation was literally that Mario movie, and it's so shitty, but it shows the Koopa that they have, and it's so fucking alligator tiny head. And then they show what kids get today, and then they show Pokemon, and then they show Detective Pikachu, and all the CGI glory and how realistic it looks, and it's just like, go fuck yourself, god damn it.
I have never been one to say, just to ever in my life start a sentence with kids today, but I will today. Kids today are never gonna understand how fucking great of a movie Mario was.
It really was
Super Mario
amazing.
Brothers.
Yeah.
And I know that Bob Hoskins hates that he did it. I know he does, but still, dude, like that was when he passed away. Like that movie and Who Framed Roger Rabbit were the first two immediately. And I'm only saying that Who Framed Roger Rabbit is his second best just to bust balls, but I do actually put it above. I do definitely put it above.
I mean, it's bad, but it's great in its own right. As in, like, how not Mario it is, but still trying to force Mario into that type of world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that they saw how well Ninja Turtles were doing, and they were like, we gotta get in on that!
Oh, Ninja Turtles.
So again, this one, I think it goes without saying, highly recommend it. Look at it from a different perspective now.
Oh, yeah, look for all the things that kids aren't going to be looking for. Like,
Oh.
all the abuse.
So, when Ryan and I showed that, I have an 8-year-old son, and so when Ryan and I showed this movie to my son Gage, so that part, the scary part that everyone remembers from as a child,
Yeah.
from the time that his body was curling up to the time that he stood up to the time that remember when he was bouncing and he was like
Yeah.
coming right at ya?
Yeah.
And like that entire scene, Gage laughing so fucking hard. And so Ryan and I looking at each other, and I was like, I think I have to start looking for dead cats under his bed. And he was like, I think you do. I'm like, I think I do, because that is... it's so off-putting because, and I know that it's because he's desensitized and that, he's probably seen worse, or to that it's just not that scary, but like to us,
Yeah.
a lot of us could say that might be the first like real horror movie that we were ever exposed to, because it is a children's movie that has those horrifying points to it. So the fact that he was laughing had me and Ryan being like, so I'm raising a sociopath, great.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this was fun. This was so much fun. I loved all the movies that we watched.
Yeah.
Me too.
Oh god.
I didn't even rewatch Who Framed Roger Rabbit to
Oh,
prepare
neither
for
did I.
this. I was like, I didn't need to. I've seen it so many times. I
Yep.
know that
Yep.
movie. I knew that movie front and back. Oh, another scary part. Do you remember when he saw like the girl that he thought was Jessica Rabbit but wasn't Jessica Rabbit?
Oh, and she was chasing him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was really creepy and she had those weird tits. Like,
You know what that instantly reminds me of? And yes, I do remember that because it was fucking gross. It reminds me of, like, the Kinker sisters' mother.
Oh god.
oh my god!
That totally could
But
be.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
yeah.
that's where they came from. Like,
'Cause we don't-
mystery solved.
Oh my god, yeah. That's brilliant.
Oh my god.
That is absolutely brilliant. I love it so much.
It finally comes full circle. We finally have an understanding.
So-
Finally have closure.
yeah.
Did you select this like as like an underrated horror movie just because people have never like looked upon it as a horror movie before?
Yeah, pretty much, because,
Okay.
I mean, it has so many horror elements into it that why shouldn't it be kind of classified as that? I mean, yes, it is a children's noir film, but with all the other things put in there and looking at it from this perspective, it's hard to not classify it as that. I mean, literally, there is literal possession, murder. You are melting a cartoon.
I think
are
it's
melting innocence.
I think it's because it has more comedy and wholesomeness than scary.
Oh, I mean, it could be a dark horror comedy film. You
Oh,
know?
for sure, definitely. As far as like children's horror movies goes, I still haven't shown Gage the original cartoon Pinocchio because that movie scared me so bad I don't want to watch it again.
Cartoon Pinocchio.
Yeah, do you remember the old Pinocchio?
Like the Disney one?
The Disney one,
Yeah.
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 No.
Don't think I've seen that since I was like a wee lad.
Do you remember it being really terrifying when the kids
I
were
don't-
turning into donkeys?
I don't remember it at all, actually.
And the one kid was like grabbing Pinocchio's shirt and like begging him, please help me, and then his hands slowly turn into hooves.
Holy shit!
Oh
Yeah,
my
I do
God.
remember that. I do
And he
remember
goes
that.
from
It's fucked.
and he goes from screaming, please help me, to like going hee haw.
Oh god.
It's fucked, dude. It's really like they were really driving the point home of just go to school. Just
Yeah.
go the fuck to school.
Holy shit. We're gonna be analyzing all our old like childhood cartoons now.
I mean, if you guys want to talk about like
That should be- that
nostalgia
should-
for a minute, I
That
want
should
to
be
know
a
how
part
many.
two.
Wait, what?
That should be a part 2. Like just come back and like talk about like fucking fucked up childhood movies, specifically childhood movies that fucked you up.
That's not a bad idea.
Like kids movies.
I want to have a specific episode talking about So Weird. The
Oh my
the
God!
only Disney Channel paranormal supernatural fucking thing that they did that was actually
That movie was
somewhat
that
watchable.
show was so good. I loved that show.
I started watching some of the clips on YouTube. Holy 90s. Like
I need to see this.
like that part in the hair that goes down right here, and no matter like what they do, there's gonna like whoa, like they're imitating Keanu Reeves in Bill and Ted, right?
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah, it's like, Rufus! And like they're doing that the entire time. Like every time they're shocked, they do that little wiggle with their head.
You can do something like that. I have every single episode ever made of Are You Afraid of the Dark on DVD. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's amazing.
It was a birthday present from my father-in-law.
Oh, hell yeah.
But yes, this was fun.
This was a hell of a lot of fun.
Indeed. We only got like what, one more episode left?
Yes, this is when this is aired. We only have one more episode that's airing this year, and then we're going to be out, as we said before, until January 9th.
Yes.
I'm excited for these 2 weeks off, though. I really am. We're going to be still working the whole fucking time, but I'm so excited to just a little bit of less pressure.
Indeed. Happy holidays to everybody who does holiday stuff.
Is this the last episode airs before Christmas, or?
Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, Christmas is still like 2 weeks away, ish.
I'm more focused on Yule.
Yule, whatever. The holiday season.
Technically, the holiday season started like a little while ago.
Are you talking about Hanukkah?
Yeah.
October 2nd? Or no, December 2nd.
October
Just kidding.
No, they celebrate
Just
for a
kidding.
while.
That's a long 8 days.
Listen, there was a lot of lamp oil.
Okay, we misweighed this. We get a lot.
That menorah weighs at least 60 pounds.
Oh God. Well, is there anything else we need to announce, plug, say?
I don't know. Thanks to everybody who's been listening in this past year, especially those out of the country.
Yes.
Looking at you, Sweden. And Lithuania. We know you're listening too. We just got followed by the Lithuanian Paranormal Network.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about that. That's fucking awesome.
Oh hell yeah!
We've been getting a lot of overseas listeners, and that makes me happy.
Indeed, a lot of people are checking out the thing at Melrose on our YouTube channel. So
If you haven't seen it, please
oh yes,
go click subscribe, watch.
we are
It's a
looking
long
to do
one.
more.
Yes, we are looking to do more. We're in the planning process at the moment, so we will be back next year with another.
Hopefully a shit ton more, not just one more.
Yeah, it's slowly starting.
It took us a little while to get that one out.
Yeah. Well, as usual, like, subscribe, follow, comment.
Click the death bell.
You can follow us on all the bullshits. I don't like social media. I don't keep that a secret.
Tim doesn't do social media.
I fucking even hate Facebook, and that's the only one I use.
With that said, follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Witches Hill Radio.
Yes.
From there, you can go to our group page and yell at our faces and tell us what you want to see here and show us your art and stuff. We want to promote you. We want to see your spookies.
Yeah, we want to hear from you guys and what you
Show us
want
your
more
spookies.
of next year.
Show us your spookies.
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 We gotta have more of the spooky.
Yeah, so you can also follow us on our somewhat unofficial fucking Instagram thing at Let's Talk Horror, where you'll fucking yell at me and see stuff.
Well, with that said, we'll see you next time.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
Witches Hill.